Yo guys, what's up? It is Ripe again, back with episode 39 of our Reddit series. Before you do anything else, don't forget to like the video for 300 Ripe points. And if you're new around here, please consider subscribing. Now just get comfortable and get annoyed by some entitled parents. Entitled mom thinks that harassing a police officer is okay. Yesterday, my partner and me, I'm a police officer, we were patrolling the city park. The weather was really nice and many parents and their kids were there, and there was this one kid who thought it would be a great idea to come up and start to annoy me. And listen, I understand that kids are curious and police officer is a profession many little boys dream of, but I think kids should also be taught that police officers are not there to chit-chat with you. We are there to ensure your safety, and you should turn to us if there's some kind of problem and not because you have nothing else to do. So this boy came up to me, and he was probably less than 10 years old, and he started to talk to me. He was asking me a lot of questions about being a police officer, about what I do every day, how many people have I arrested, etc. I answered him even though I didn't want to, and I don't enjoy talking to children at all, but I was like, oh well, he's little, might as well tell him what it's like to be a cop. Of course, I would not write this post if it ended with that. I talked to him for a while and then I had to keep patrolling, but this kid would not let me go. He was grabbing my legs, grabbing my waist, trying to pull at my vest, my duty belt and take things out of it, like taser and handcuffs. I could have pushed him away, but then there would be a lot of people here crying about police brutality. Instead, I tried to calm him down and talk to him while I sent my partner to look for his parents. He wouldn't listen to me though, he didn't like it that I was going away and didn't have any more time to talk to him. So the entitled kid tried to kick me, bite me and was just being an ill-mannered little boy. My partner returned with the mother of this kid who did not understand what was wrong. I told her that harassing a police officer is a misdemeanor and since he's too little, she could be charged for it. But she was like,
oh stop it, he's just playing, just play along.
I was like, ma'am, we are not here to play with your children, we are on duty, we have things to do and we cannot stand here all day satisfying the curiosity of your child. She was like,
aren't you a father yourself?
I said no and she was like,
well, no wonder, no woman would want to have kids with such a terrible man. You're not doing anything right now, you could as well pay attention to him.
I had a comeback for that, but at that moment we got a call that we need to help to catch a speeding driver, so I just wished her a nice day and we ran to our patrol car. And behind my back I heard that child whining and crying. I was like, really? You're not going to discipline your child? Not even a little bit? I think if a kid is like 10 years old, he's definitely too old for that kind of behavior. And in general, at 10 years old, you should not be grabbing strangers. My infuriating experience with an EM and her crotch goblin. I work at a stable and I groom and exercise the horses and sometimes train them. I was working with a new horse, encouraging him to pick up his hoof for me so I could pick it out. This horse was pretty young, about 7 years old and very frisky. He was fidgeting around, shifting around uncomfortably as he was still unfamiliar with this new environment. As I'm working with him, an EM comes strolling in with her crotch goblin who looks to be about 4 years old. The kid starts running straight towards the horse, causing him to rear up. I yelled at the EM to take control of her demon spawn, but of course she did not listen, just insisting that he wanted to pet the horsey. I was trying to grab hold of the horse's halter and regain control of him, when suddenly the EM's crotch fruit ran right behind the horse. This freaked the poor horse out even more. He kicked. His hoof just grazed the EM spawn's head, but it was enough to cause a good bit of damage. The EM screamed at me, blaming me for her goblin's actions. What happened next pissed me off. The EM slapped the horse across the face. I would have killed that woman if I could have, and the EM grabbed her crotch fruit and stormed out of the barn. I called in a few other stable hands to help me with the horse. When we finally got him calmed down enough, I took him back to his stall to let him recover. The next day, the stable owner told me that the EM called the cops and twisted the story to make it sound like the horse was deranged and wild. The cops had come to the stable and hauled the horse off to God knows where. Update: the horse is okay, and after clearing things up, the police told us the horse was being kept at a farm a few hours away from the stables that I work at. The horse is going to be transported back to the stables tomorrow. Is it just me, or should that woman get charged with filing a false police report? Anyway, on to the next one. Entitled Mom exchange at Panera Bread. So I just got back from Panera and I encountered an EM in the wild. I placed my order and went to go wait for my order come up. There's a long bench across from the window, so I took a seat on the very end of the bench. There was a woman sitting down the other end, taking up a good chunk with a purse and a big ass diaper bag. I was a good 2 feet away from her. I sit down and she hits me with a look so cold it killed the dinosaurs. Her kid, a toddler of about 2, is on the floor playing with a container of parfait, not being supervised since Mummy Dearest is on her phone. I get on my phone when I feel something smacking my knees. I lower my phone and the toddler is in front of me drumming my knees. I gently move her away from me and tell her to go back to her mom. I don't handle children, not my job. I don't like touching them, I don't interact with them. And that was my mistake. The EM sets her sights on me and demands to know,
"Why are you being mean to my kid? Why don't you play with her? She's just saying hello to you."
Mind, she's raised her voice but isn't yelling yet, attracting attention. So people are staring, looking at me like I'm some terrible person. I told her to leave me alone and went back to my phone, but the EM scoffs and calls me a bitch. I ignored it because I wasn't in the mood for a fight. She then put the kid up on the bench and it climbs down to my end. I am looking at Imgur, so bright, flashy and colorful, baby bait so to speak. The kid stands up and leans against me, arms around my neck, staring at my phone. I extract myself from her and tell her to go back to her mother. The EM looks at me and says,
"Jesus Christ, what the hell is the matter with you? What is your problem? She's 2, she's not hurting you. She just wants to see what you're doing. Why are you acting like this?"
I told her to F off and watch her kid, and if it touches me again, I'm not going to ask nicely. I am gonna yell at the kid and I don't care if it makes me look like a bad person. I told her letting her kid crawl around on the floor is nasty and letting her kid mess with and touch strangers is dangerous, and that she does not know me or what I look at on my phone and that she could have seen something age inappropriate. Basically called her a bad mother without actually saying it. The EM calls me the wonderful C word again and tells me,
"You're going to hell."
She then asks me if I have kids, but I say no, I don't like or want kids. She goes,
"Good, because you would be a terrible mother."
I tell her that's not a bad thing in my book because I already know I would be a bad mother. Why do you think I don't want them? But she goes,
"Good, you shouldn't."
She then got an eye roll from me because she has no argument and I literally agreed with her. She goes back to her phone, I go back to my phone and I can see the kid sliding closer and closer to me, doing that sly, sneaky grin that little kids do when they think they are being funny. She parks herself right next to me, literally thighs squishingly close, and leans against me. Well, don't say I didn't warn her. I looked at the kid and yelled, "Get away from me!" The kid jumps and starts crying and the EM hops up and squares up on me.
"Get up, don't you effing yell at my kid. Get up, you wanna yell at someone? You yell at someone your size. Get up and square up, bitch."
The restaurant wasn't packed, so when she started yelling, the place got quieter and people were staring. But the line chef called my name and put my food up, so I weighed the balance and decided that knocking her lights out was not worth the effort. The manager came out and asked the both of us if everything was okay. I said yes. The EM said no. He says that if we don't stop yelling, then he's gonna call the police because we are causing a disturbance. And then the greatest thing happens. This teen girl had been leaning against the wall, just slightly out of my eyesight on her phone, comes over and says she, meaning me, was just minding her own business. The kid kept messing with her. She kept asking the mom to mind her and the mom was trying to start something. She told her the next time the kid messed with her, she was gonna yell, and she did nothing. She had a fair warning. The EM calls the teen a liar, a little bitch, and says that this isn't what happened at all, a typical deflection. The manager sees that I have my bag and asks if everything is correct. I check and say yes. He suggests I leave to avoid any more problems, but I'm welcome back. He tells the EM that if she's going to eat in that, she needs to watch the child. It's no one else's job to watch the kid, and frankly it's dangerous to let the kid run around when there are employees and diners walking around, some with trays or other bulky items, and she's a tripping hazard. He then goes back into the BOH. The EM looks at me and says that I need to watch my effing back because she never forgets a face and she has friends and I might find myself in trouble. That made me laugh because the only friends she likely has in our neck of the woods are inbred, beer drinking, kissing cousins with busted, rusted 91 F-150s with lift gear and KC lights. I'm not worried about my down-home future. Ripestars, doesn't that also make you curious that apparently entitled mothers are not worried anymore about strangers touching their kid? I thought that is something that, especially in America, people freak out about, but please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. That one time, an EM got mad at me for not accepting her child's allowance money. So a couple of years ago, I worked at a bookstore at the mall and I was getting really tired of it at that point because my managers were really awful to me. They complained I couldn't come into work because I fainted at the blood bank and the doctor literally said not to go into work the next day. This place got really busy on the weekends and during holidays, and this takes place during that time. So a little background of the store layout. There are two sets of registers that were fairly far apart from one another. Our policy was that if you saw that one register was full and yours was empty, you needed to go out and try to herd customers to your register to ease the load. Of course, no one wants to leave their spot, so I really have no choice but to help out the one guy at the register. And yeah, we were really short-staffed at the time. Anyway, this kid comes up with his mom and he looks around 9 to 10ish and places a book on the checkout counter. Okay, cool, no problem, easy sale. Me, okay, that will be $9. The kid proceeds to pull out a baggie full of change, just change, like a majority of it was pennies, nickels and dimes. Our other store policy is that you cannot just take a customer's word on how much money they are giving you. If the drawer comes up short, it's my job on the line and I don't feel like dealing with my asshat managers. I'm also not going to count out $9 and change while there's a huge line of people waiting. Sorry, I cannot count all of this out and I cannot take your word that this is $9. EM,
he worked hard for this money. This is his allowance and you're not going to take it.
I'm sorry ma'am, but there's a huge line and I cannot count out all of this change. The EM huffs and says,
fine, here.
She proceeds to just throw her card in the machine and storms off with her son. I felt bad for the kid, but seriously, couldn't you just take him to a coin store or something? Or even exchange his change for a dollar bill? You aren't the only person in the world, lady. F off. I cannot imagine how annoying that must be if people would always pay like that. Also, here a little gem from the comments.
But little darling missed out on an important life learning lesson because of you. Also, how dare you not to hold the line up and just think how cute it is that the little darling is counting out his hard-earned allowance.
And of course, you stole the spotlight from the entitled mom because now the other customers waiting behind her will not get to see what a good entitled mom she is or listen to how smart her little precious angel is as he counts all his small change. Alright guys, now for the bonus, some of the top posts of r/EntitledParents for today. Entitled Mom thinks it's okay to touch strangers' bellies. The cast is the EM for Entitled Mom, the EK, C for cousin, me for me, M for manager. Also I am on mobile, so sorry if the formatting is weird. This happened a few days ago, so I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that people think this is okay. My cousin is 6 months pregnant, yay! And I took her to the store to help her decide on some things, like strollers, car seats, etc. As we were walking around and looking at adjustable cribs, a small boy, around 7 to 8 years old, walked up to her. EK, are you having a baby? Cousin, yeah I am having a boy. EK, can I touch it? My cousin is not big on being touched, especially by strangers, so naturally she said no, and the boy started to fuss. I want to touch the baby, EK screamed. Me, we understand, but she doesn't want to be touched by someone she does not know. EK, I want to touch him. Cousin: I'm sorry, sweetie, but people have personal bubbles and some people don't like having them popped. After that, he stormed off and my cousin thought that was the end. And she thought he was old enough to understand and was taught about personal space. We continued shopping for a bit when the EK came back with his mom. Oh goody. EM:
You, why won't you let my son touch your baby?
My cousin looked confused, and rightfully so. This lady was just storming up to us, so I got in front of her a little. Cousin: I'm sorry?
You won't let my son touch your baby. Why?
Because I don't know him and it's rude to just touch people you don't know. I want to touch him.
I know, sweetie. Hold on.
Me: no, he won't hold on. She does not want to be touched by your son. The EM looked at me and scoffed and rolled her eyes.
He doesn't mean any harm. He just wants to touch the damn baby. It's okay, EK. I give you permission to go touch her baby.
He started to walk near my cousin and I stood directly in front of her now. My cousin was looking really shocked and stunned at this point, as this has never happened to her before. Me: no, you're not going to touch strangers when they ask you not to. Do you understand that? I look up at his mother, who is getting more upset. EK now starts having a temper tantrum and throws himself on the ground, crying and screaming.
Look what you have done. You have upset my child.
No, you have upset your child by promising him something he could not have. EM:
What's the deal? It's not even your child, and he wouldn't be touching her. He would be touching the baby.
I was so taken aback by this statement that I had to blink a couple of times. Never in my life have I heard that one before. Luckily, the manager came over after she heard all the fuss. Manager: What's going on here? Is everything okay?
No, everything is not okay. She won't let my son feel her baby.
Cousin: I don't want to be touched. EM:
He isn't touching you. None of this would have happened if you just let him touch your baby.
EK is still rolling on the floor, having his tantrum. Manager: Ma'am, can you please settle your child? EM:
He will settle when he gets to touch the baby.
Cousin: Oh yeah, great way to raise your kids.
Shut up, this is all your fault.
Manager: Ma'am, you have no right to touch this woman, nor does your son. And no, he would not be touching the baby as it is not born yet. And even if it was, the mother has right to say who can and cannot touch her child.
That is such BS. He doesn't even mean any harm.
Me: It does not matter. She does not want to be touched. At this point, my cousin is shaking and is starting to sit down, and I'm sure she's about to have a panic attack. I turn towards her and ask if she's going to need an inhaler. We are both asthmatic and it flares up when we have panic attacks. She nods and I reach in my purse and hand her mine, to which she starts taking. EM:
Don't do drugs in front of my child.
EM starts to take a step towards us and I immediately stood up. Me: Don't you dare come near her. She's having a panic attack because of you. EM:
That's very unlikely. She just needed her fix.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you and your child to leave now. EM:
But I haven't even finished my shopping yet.
Manager: I don't care. You've been harassing these young women and I want you out of my store. The EM went to say something until the manager spoke up again. Manager: Now, before I call the police and have you escorted out. The EM then scoffs and glares at me before picking up EK, who's still having a fit but not as loud now. And then she headed out of the store and I got back down onto the floor to check on my cousin. Are you alright? My cousin just nodded and I helped her up. She thanked the manager for helping us and she gave us a 30% discount on our purchase for all of our troubles. So in the end, a happy ending. So if I got this right, according to this entitled mom, asthmatic people are drug addicts. That's certainly something you don't hear every day. Alright, next one. EK wants a game I've just bought and EM attempts to steal it from me. I live in the UK and there's this video game chain called ZEX. It's basically a second-hand video game store that sells retro and new games. I go there regularly. One day when I'm there, on the shelf I see a game that I've been wanting to buy for a while. Keep in mind, the staff had just put it on the shelf and it was the only one they had in stock. I pick up the game and an 8 to 9 year old EK starts to get a little upset. EK: Hey, I saw that game first. I want it. Sorry mate, but I got it first and it's too mature for you anyway. The game, by the way, was Persona 5. I proceeded to pick up a few more things and go to the counter. I can hear the EK talking to his mom in the background and oh boy, I thought this is gonna be a bad day. As I finish paying for the game, EM walks up to me.
Excuse me, but my son saw that game first. It's his.
Me, sorry miss, with all due respect, I got the game first and it's too mature for him. The EM begins to get angry. EM says,
What has my little angel ever done to you to deserve this kind of crap thrown back at him?
The store clerk butts in, the SC. Ma'am, he got the game first. Please stop causing a fuss. You're holding up the line.
No, I won't stop. This guy has taken my son's game and I'm going to do something about it.
Mommy, I want the game now. I saw it first and I...
It's fine, EK. Mommy's gonna get you the game.
She proceeds to snatch the bag with all the things I had purchased and tries to run out of the store. Obviously, this pissed me off. Luckily, someone stopped the EM before she left and she did not like that. EM,
Get the F off me, you creep.
I catch up to EM and attempt to get my bag back. Nearby was a police officer. EM,
Police, this man is trying to steal my son's games.
The officer comes to us and she tries to explain the whole thing in her view, and then the SC butts in. Sir, this woman stole them off, nerdy sloth. The receipt in the bag has the man's name on it. This only enraged the EM even more. EM,
No, he's lying.
The officer clearly saw what was up and stopped the situation. He took EM and EK and I'm not sure what happened to them. I have not seen them since. Thank God. Has any one of my Ripesters actually played Persona 5? I think I bought that game like a few months back and I haven't even played more than 20 hours yet, but it's a great game for sure. If any of you guys have one of the newer consoles like PS4, Xbox One X and so on, please tell me what is your favorite new generation game. Either way, that was all the content I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it once again, and I would like to thank all of you for the amazing support lately. Please keep up the liking, the commenting, the subscribing. I really cannot thank you guys enough for it. So I hope you have a great day, and I would be happy if you come back tomorrow.